I'm Gina Segadelli. I'm the Washington State Legends of Soccer Vice President and Program Committee Chair for this event. And I am so excited to be able to have this tonight. We are so grateful to the founders and especially Brian for making this happen tonight. As you can imagine, his schedule is a little tight. We've been trying to put this event on for about, 3 years now or so. And a few months ago, we found one night an opportunity to do this with Brian, and so we took full advantage, and thank God for the Sounders and their ability to pull a team together. We were able to get everything in place for this event in just 3 short months. So we are truly grateful to have you all here, and it's going to be a great night. Before I introduce our esteemed host, I just wanted to share a little background about how I know Brian. And we go way back. I grew up in Mukilteo, went to Mariner High School, and played for the Union Bay Flyers. That was the team that was the same. Often we went on trips with all the guys from various Lake City Hawks teams. And we often traveled with the team on buses. So you can imagine what that's like with 40 teenage girls and boys on a bus to Canada. In fact, Walter Jr. and Andy were on that team, and Brian was just helping out. His dad actually ended up coaching us for that tournament, which was super fun. Walter Sr. was always fun to play for and fun to be with. So we go way back, and then I remember growing up and watching the Sounders. Of course, they didn't have women's pro teams back then, so I had to learn all my moves from the Seattle Sounders, and that was a lot of fun. So watched them in the Kingdom. I learned so much from them, and then over the years, I coached at mini camps and schools and other programs, club teams, and earned my A license at some point. I can't remember when, but I think it was 1992. After we didn't have a pro team for about 10 years. And then in 94, Coach Alan Hinton helped bring back our Seattle Sounders to Seattle. And we were playing in the A League at that time. And I was fortunate enough to be a part of that staff. Alan and Bernie James took me to breakfast and convinced me that I wanted to be a part of the new A-League Sounders, and it was a highlight of my life. And it made me actually the first woman to ever coach men professionally in soccer in the United States. So I appreciate Alan so much for that opportunity. It was a lot of fun, especially in the clubhouse and in the locker room during games. No. Just kidding. But many of us first encountered the Schmetzers from Sporthouse Schmetzer. I think it probably was the first soccer store, like legit soccer store, in the history of our country, probably. It was the only place you could go and get really good quality soccer gear. And his parents ran that shop, and it was just a blast to be able to go there and snoop around and find all kinds of cool gear. After a stellar career at Nathan Hale High School and the Lake City Hawks, which was coached by Walter Sr., Brian decided to forego college and was drafted to the Seattle Sounders of the NASL. Later, he joined the Tacoma Stars and the Seattle Sea Dogs. In 2002, he was named the head coach of the A-League Sounders. The first year that I was with the Sounders in '94, I think you were on that team. But the next year, he was not. And wasn't too long, and he became the coach after 7 seasons there and 7 seasons at the top as the top assistant to Siggy. He was named the head coach of the Sounders FC in 2016. And we all knew, Adrian, that was the right move. So clearly that has proven itself. They've since won 2 MLS Cups the CONCACAF Champions League, and as you know, just a few months ago, the Leagues Cup. So they are dominating and representing us, Seattle well. Without further ado, here to take us through 5 decades of Sounders history, in the words of himself and some special guests, please welcome the revered Brian Schmetzer.
Okay, all right, so I want to say thank you for everybody for coming. Thank you, Katie especially, Jenny, everybody at the Sounders that helped put this on, Brian, the guys that are going to do the video. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to watch some video, and then I'm going to pull some players up here that are attached or linked into some of these videos, and some coaches that are linked into these videos. And we're going to sit up here and tell a couple of stories. And I'm going to try and make this as efficient as possible. If somebody wants to get another beer, because I know Taylor and Danny and Tommy and those Marcus, if you want to get a beer and get up, that's okay. Pete, don't worry, you're in the program. But we're going to have fun. We're going to tell stories. So let's just get after it. And you know what I want to start with is, how did we get there? How did we get there from a bunch of kids? Because look, Pacific Northwest developed a lot of talent. It's still developing talent. Paul Rothrock, Jordan Morris is going to be up here. How did we get from that photo, and Pete has that trophy. Pete's got the trophy. That's my buddy Misha Chef's eating a candy bar in the upper right. How did we go from here to here? 14, 15-year-old kids, that's my dad, that's my team, 7 out of 10 state championships. Again, we lost to you, that was only once. But how did we go from there to here? How did we get there? Was it good luck? Were we that good? Was it right place or the right time? Because a lot of things in life, it's right place, right time. So my story starts with the guy smack in the middle, Freddie Hamill, okay? And Al, you'll remember this, and Bobby, I know you're in there somewhere as well. So Freddie Hamill was the best player on our team, the Lake City Hawks. He was the best. And you guys drafted him. Where's Bobby? Bobby, raise your hand. Where are you? There you are. So you guys drafted him, right? And then you guys went down to like a field in Georgetown, and I was playing left midfield, because I'm left-footed, and the only time in my career that I remember, I took the ball in on my right foot, I hit it, it went in the upper corner, and Al said that day, said it to my dad, said it to me, the story's been told a bunch of times, I'm gonna sign both of those lads because that was fucking brilliant. I didn't really swear, that's Alan's words. Now you're coming. Okay. That is my story, okay? And then the other story I like to tell is this. So you're gonna see a video here, and I always say in the press that the Sounders are the connection between the players and the fans. And Dave was here, and Tony, and everybody, Jimmy, you've all put a lot of work in here. Roger, Taylor, guys that I'm gonna bring up here. I understand that touch points in the community are important for our club, because it really is. It's the carnations, it's the traditions, and this was a birthday party that one of our parents put together. Hank Leotard was there, Davey Butler, Pepe Fernandez, and it was like a birthday party for 10-year-old kids, and all of a sudden we had professional players there. And we are just like going, this is the coolest thing ever. It was like, that moment was the watershed moment for me, and as I reflect on my life, that was a very important moment in my life, and that got us jump-started in, you know, what you see today and maybe what you hear from me today. The Sounders are the connection between the players and the fans. That's what I truly believe. Anybody want to take a guess who that is? Eddie Fernandez. Eddie Fernandez. So there's our team photo. There's our team photo. There's Pepe and there's Eddie. It was a great birthday party. Wonderful, wonderful birthday party. It was a great childhood memory. So we're going to go through a bunch of, oh, there you go. Thank you, Katie. Thank you, Katie. A couple of originals. Okay, so let's get the program started. So we're going to start with the 70s. Very exciting Memorial Stadium, very exciting time in our lives as Sounders. The starting point of many good memories.
During the long, warm summer of 1975, the Seattle Sounders renewed their love affair with Puget Sound sports fans, whose adulation made Sounders soccer something special in the annals of Northwest sports history. Memorial Stadium was expanded for a second time in the club's brief history for the home opener against Toronto. It reached a capacity of almost 18,000, but that still wasn't enough, as the demand for tickets increased during the season. Sounders soccer has become the sport for families. What they watch from their seats lives with them long after the game is over. Youth soccer programs and friendly neighborhood games all bear a striking resemblance to soccer the way the Sounders play. The sport is growing nationally as few thought possible even 2 years ago. On the national scene, one of the keys to soccer's recent success has been the appearance of a Brazilian superstar. In 1975, Pelé signed a multi-million-dollar contract to play soccer for the New York Cosmos. On July 5th, Pelé and the Cosmos paid a visit to Seattle and a capacity crowd, nearly 18,000, at Memorial Stadium.
I think here's Liverich. Fancy footwork to Pelé and from Pelé. That's the closest thing that Pelé has had to a shot today.
Pelé only had half a chance there, but good defensive work. You see, he hadn't got much chance, no time. The ball bounced away from him. Good defense. The defender stretching his coat.
If the rest of the world believes Pelé personifies soccer, someone forgot to tell the Seattle fans. One draped a sign on a stadium wall which said, "We'd be here even if Pelé wasn't." The great one only smiled. The man brought in to spark interest in the game nationally really wasn't needed to bolster soccer in Seattle.
This is Portland, Oregon, the city of the roses and site of Soccer Bowl 77. For this afternoon, a capacity crowd of 35,000 is on hand to see a game that the experts are calling the most dramatic, emotion-filled championship in North American Soccer League history.
This is Tony Field, picked up by number 3, McAllister. Field tries to beat him. McAllister takes it right away and bounces it off the foot of Tony Field. Nicely done.
I think that's always going to be popular. He's so popular with the fans, this young kid. He's really a very personable little kid, and he's done a great job this season at left back.
Here comes Pelé. Feeds the ball to Stevie Hunt. He's dangerous. Fires a shot. Kirsty covers up with Pelé following it in. 17 minutes and 15 seconds left in the match. Gillett just barely saves it in. Pressure from Hunt, but he goes around in twice. Now here's Tommy Ord, and Messing grabs it.
Lovely work by Gillett out there. That's surprising for a fullback, let alone a center fullback.
The whistle blows. The ball, is it over? It is over. The Cosmos are the champions of North America. We'll see you in 1978. Cosmos 2, Sounders 1. So long from Portland.
I was at the game, Pelé at Memorial Stadium. I wasn't at this game because I didn't like going to Portland. My dad didn't let me go. But let's bring to the stage 3 superstars, 3 big names from that era: Tony Chersky, Jimmy Mack, and Dave Gillett. Let's start with you, Dave. The tackle, the nutmeg. What do you remember about that game? Yeah.
Not much. It's a long time ago. So the inside scoop on that one, when I got the ball back and I knocked it through his legs, I said, "Oops." On the way by. So I'd imagine he's not forgotten that anytime soon.
You don't even remember who it was.
It was, no, I don't remember his name.
Tony, tell me what you remember about the game. I mean, look, I don't want to bring it up.
Thank you,
but
Brian.
I just did.
You know.
I know, but you recovered well. I mean,
Thank
you had a great
Appreciate
career.
that, yeah. But you know, the irony of that whole game was that when I got inducted into the Canadian Soccer Hall of Fame, do you know what?
Hall of Famer.
Do you know what clip they played? That clip. Yeah. I got a letter of apology afterwards, but well, for me, playing in a game with some of the legends, not just the legends of the game, Beckenbauer, Pelé, Carlos Alberto. That
Jimmy
was
Mack.
just, and Jimmy Mack. Now. Then no. Yeah, but now. That one for me was just extraordinary. And to be in Pelé's last competitive game is something I'll always be proud of.
You should be proud of that. Jimmy, you got the jersey, but before you go there, I mean, this area, I said it before, this area has produced a lot of good players. You were the trailblazer. You were the one that came out of Kennedy and signed the first contract, then Jeff, then Mark, God rest his soul, Jeff Durgan, me, Chance, Dickey, everybody else followed through, some of the other guys from here. But talk to me about Kennedy High School, how you got to the Sounders, and then the game and the jersey.
Well, I was contacted by a guy named Jimmy Robertson, and I thought it was a baseball tryout. And I went, and it was actually soccer, and we played. And I'd played in the youth and played in the men's league. And the most proud we should be is all the great local players that have come. And I know there's great players that have come from all over, but it's really outstanding to see, you know, the Paulie Rothrocks and Jackson Reagans, the Jason Farrows, the Pete Atwood, just great players from this market. So it's a real achievement. And something else. When Dave nutmegged that guy, I guarantee he didn't say oops. There was something with an F in front of it. And when I played the first 2 years, I thought my name was, hey, you effing weasel. So I don't know where he comes up with this nice oops bit. You know
A rebuttal? A rebuttal? Anything
Go on,
to
Dave.
say?
It's a rebuttal, Dave. Go on.
Well, as you could tell, Jimmy fitted in neatly. He was very confident. He grabbed the game and he fitted in very well, actually, quite fast. But when we played the final against Pelé and the big guys, Jimmy went AWOL for a couple of minutes at the end. So I'm looking over, man, and he's standing beside Pelé, and it suddenly dawns on me, he's looking to get Pelé's jersey. So the joke I always use when I see Jimmy is that, yeah, he got Pelé's jersey. It's in a lockup in some bank in West Seattle. Worth quite a lot of money, actually, about now, I would think.
How much you think, Jimmy?
Well, I don't like to monetize things, guys. But if anybody's got an offer, give me a ring, you know?
Yeah, he does. That was a lie. Anyway, the joke I always tell him is that I got a call a couple of weeks later, and it was from Pelé's people, and they wanted Jimmy's jersey because Pelé was going to wash his car.
But Pelé always had a driver. He didn't have a car, Dave, you know?
Good stuff. Tony, a last question here, maybe for you. So, you know, I bought a copy of your book. I told you that. I found it on Amazon.
Thank you, Brian.
And you and Adrian wrote a book, and you talked a little bit in one chapter about Jimmy Gabriel. He is one of the people from this generation that I think everybody in this room loves and appreciates. Can you give us something about Jimmy?
Yeah, for me, it's more about an overall impression. Jimmy, for me, embodied respect. He treated you as you would always want to be treated as a human being. I remember an occasion when, in my first year, I still had to take one more university course to complete my degree, and it happened to be in romantic poetry. And the guys would see me with my tome of romantic poetry, and they would be giving me just such stick. It was just embarrassing. And then in one of these conversations where I was getting all this abuse, Jimmy sidled up and he said, you know, I write a little bits of poetry myself. And then he quoted, I think, 4 verses from Robbie Burns, and that shut all of the guys up. So for me, Jimmy was an extraordinary human being, and I miss him dearly.
We all do.
Hey, Brian, too, when you look around the room, there's a lot of legends, but there's somebody here that's a real legend, Wes Stock. Wes?
Okay. He's coming in the 80s.
Different story. I told him I could hit off him all day long, and he took me to Sheeny Stadium. He threw it right at my head. So, I love the guy. He's been around for all of us, and what a superstar. Good to have you here, Wes.
Good to have you. Okay, gentlemen, thank you for everything you guys have done. Let's hear it for these 3.
Thanks, bud.
Excellent. Okay. We're going to head to the 1980s. I think I might have had that same program, but a lot of signatures there, a lot of familiar faces.
The real highlights of the 1980 season were the individuals who made up the team. Mark Peterson, the rookie from Tacoma, scored 14 goals and set a league record for the most goals ever scored by an American-born player. Peterson scored his first ever NASL goal in only the second match of the year.
Looking in, score! Peterson!
Several Sounders played key backup roles in 1980. Jeff Stock, a young American in his rookie year, saw action in 18 matches during the regular season. As a backup midfielder, Frank Barton played in 22 matches and scored 2 game-winning overtime goals, including this one against the Minnesota Kicks.
We're tied at 2. Sudden death overtime. Hutchison looking in front. Davies back to Barton. Shoots. Scores!
It was supposed to be just a rebuilding year. Yet the Seattle Sounders exceeded everyone's expectations by posting an astounding 25-win, 7-loss record and easily taking the Western Division Championship. In the process, 28 individual team and league records fell, and 7 Sounders were selected to the league's All-Star team. And Alan Hinton, the 1980 NASL Coach of the Year. The 1980 Seattle Sounders, the record breakers, a team all American soccer fans will long remember and Sounders fans will never forget.
But can anyone ever forget the final moments of the 1982 season in the Kingdome? What a way to get the Soccer Bowl. And this is how the charge to the championship final unfolded.
Seattle won the Western Division Championship the last day of the regular season, then launched themselves into the playoffs, knowing that if they just kept up their momentum, they could be in Soccer Bowl 82 on September 18th. Just as anybody who was there, this is what being a Sounders fan is all about. An unforgettable experience.
Here comes the corner, taken short, headed out by Fort Lauderdale, waiting for it is Hibbett, plays it off one leg to control, here is his shot!
Sounders and you fans can look back on this incredible year with no tears, no remorse. For what a year! And after all, 82 was only the beginning, wasn't it?
So let's bring up 3 more legends. Jeff Stock, Frank Barton, and Alan Hinton. Jimmy, thank you, because the Stock family has been involved in a lot of different things. on and off the field. You produce a really nice son. Nice job. And I'm going to start with you, because again, maybe Jimmy was the first, and then you and Mark and Jeff Durgan, but you know, soccer in this area, we've produced good players, including yourself. So talk about that. How did you become a Sounder?
Well, I got here, we moved here when I was in the 4th grade, 10 years old, and that's what everybody did. And
even though your dad was a baseball player.
Well, I played baseball. It wasn't good enough. Okay. And I just want to say one thing. Brian, you had great coaches, your dad, and we had unbelievable coaches. They put Jeff Durgan to the Cosmos, myself and Peterson, and what's even better is most of our kids, everybody except for 2, got scholarships and went on to college under a scholarship. And I want to commend all the players, because the Rotherocks, the Morris, and the kids that are sitting in those stands, they want to be like you. And it's a credit to you guys, and it's more of a credit to the coaches that are out there, the McAllisters, Chance Fry, Bernie James, everybody, because you guys are the reasons that our kids are coming up as better players. I just got lucky. I had a good coach, and Jimmy Gabriel.
Good genes?
Yeah, good. That's my mom's. Yeah, my mom's. I just got someone from the Sounders saw me, and I was going to go to college, but they invited me to a game in their suite, and Jimmy came out, and he was announced Rookie of the Year, and I said, if he can do it, I can do it. And if it wasn't, no, seriously, if it wasn't for Jimmy, I would have gone to college.
That was a compliment, Jimmy. That was a compliment.
I didn't mean it that way.
Okay, Frank. Frank and I go way back to 1980, but I was doing a little research. Well, I'm getting there. So I didn't know that Frank Barton had 500 plus games in his professional career.
Yes, I did.
Scunthorpe, Carlisle, Blackpool, Grimsby, Bournemouth. How did you get to the Sounders?
I'm not sure, to tell you the truth. It was Jimmy Gabriel again.
It's Jimmy.
He played for Bournemouth.
Okay.
I played against him. And one day, all of a sudden, I was now playing for Bournemouth. And true story. You know, we used to have big baths. Yeah. We all get in the bath. I happened to be sitting next to Harry Redknapp. And we'd finished practice, we got in there, and all of a sudden Harry turned to me and said, "Frank, Jimmy's down there trying to buy you." I said, "You what?" He says, "Yeah, he's in with, who was the...
John Bond.
Bond. Yeah, he's down with the manager down there trying to get you...
Come to Seattle.
Signed up to Seattle."
It was a good choice.
It was a good choice.
It was a good choice.
Yeah.
Not just because of the goals, but I'll tell a story about Frank. So, you know, as a young player, young man, you know, there were guys that I really got along with. Steve Buttle, God rest his soul. I was right next to him, but I always remember, Frank, you were very good to me. You were hard on me, but you were very fair to me. We did a lot of head tennis at the end. It was a good relationship, so thank you.
Yeah, oh, you're very welcome.
But we always had to buy him dinner.
You got to talk about, there's a video somewhere on YouTube where Frank scores the winning goal against Minnesota.
We just saw it.
Did you?
Yep.
And it was a diving header. It was a diving header. And the game was over. And Frank, we couldn't catch him. He started running off and we couldn't get you, Frank.
I know. That's my best pace. Can I tell the story about the locker door? Yeah? Okay.
If it's PG rated.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
So, I forget who we were playing, but we were playing a game, And Alan read the team out, and I wasn't in it. So I was a little bit...
Bad move.
Bad mood.
I was a little bit peed, and so we went through the game. I was on the bench, and then all of a sudden we got back in after the game. I'm not sure whether we won or lost. That wasn't important to me at the time. I needed to go see Alan. Opened the locker door, the locker room door, went in. That's where the coaches are there. Bobby Howe, where are you?
He's there.
He'll vouch for this story because he was in there with you, wasn't he? And so I said my piece. No F's or anything else, you know me. And so as I walked out, I slammed the door. And I didn't know this until the following day. It wouldn't open.
And you locked him in.
I locked him in.
Love that story.
Yeah.
I'm sure some of my players want to do that to me every now and again as well.
Oh, I shouldn't have let you guys know, should I?
Al, you have touched so many players in this area, community. You were my first coach. Do you have a favorite story? You have so many stories, so many good stories. Anything from Soccer Bowl, anything from any of your playing days? Wake up, Alan. I could give you a hint. How about the white shoes?
I used to wear white shoes. And I was playing for Derby County, and we won the big league twice. And Hummel was the producer of the white shoes. So they approached me because I took all the corner kicks and free kicks. And when you take the corner kicks, the camera gets on you, right? And I started wearing these white boots, and I used to wait about 3 or 4 more seconds extra to make them more money.
And make you more money.
Yeah. So I was making £200 a week at the time, and they gave me £1,000 to wear the white boots.
It's good money back in that day. Let's have a big round of applause for Jeff Stock, Frank Barton, and Alan Hinton. And we are going to move on to the wonderful 1990s. Bunch of good-looking guys on that squad right there.
The end of the line of the A-League Championship Series ends in the Emerald City, Seattle, Washington. That's where we are tonight. Final game of the A-League Championship Series. The Seattle Sounders and the Atlanta Ruckus.
Mike Eweiler's out of the game. He's watching his Ruckus teammates try to hang on. 9 minutes left. Score! Jason Farrell with the far post glancing header, and he has brought this crowd to its feet.
Head trip. Shoots. It's 2-0. Wow, there's this year's MVP of the league. I mean, he stops Seattle wins. And Hardiman makes the save! Seattle wins the A-League title! Give them credit, Rich. They were down at goal. They were faced with elimination. They scored a great goal to tie it and beat Atlanta at what Atlanta likes to do. They beat them in the shootout and are a very, very deserving A-League champion. Here we go, here we go, here we go. From Blank Road Brewery, he is presenting the Red Dog Most Absolutely gorgeous afternoon in the Pacific Northwest. Picture postcard stuff from Memorial Stadium in Seattle. The A-League Championship game. Winner take all. Will it be Rochester? Will it be Seattle? It's next on Prime.
A team in Major League Soccer is here today scouting the game. So, and that's a great...
Farrell found Leonetti, and Joey Leonetti
You know, Seattle's a great soccer town, as you know yourself, Rich, and game's all about.
It is over, and Seattle, for the second consecutive year, has an A-League championship. Marcus Hahnemann, his 14th shutout, including the playoffs. Joey Leonetti scoring twice. A huge crowd on hand, many of them pouring onto the field right now.
Well, it's the same that happened last year. A great feeling for Seattle. Neil Megson, he's almost in tears.
I'd like to turn this trophy over to the people who really deserve it. Headed up by a guy who knows how to start his coaching career, Neil Megson.
Put it above your head, strong boy.
I think you're going to notice a trend. I think we were close in the 80s, Al, but the 90s team, they were the ones that started winning some trophies. So let's welcome up to the stage Jason Farrell, Marcus Hahnemann, and Wade Weber. Stay standing just for one quick second. So Christmas is coming. Christmas is coming pretty fast. It's going to be here before you know it. If anybody needs a Christmas gift idea, you can get this somewhere. I'm going to ask Tommy Dutra where he got this. This was a Christmas gift. It is a belt buckle beer holder. It is a belt buckle beer holder. No. And there you go. See, it's a belt buckle. It's a belt buckle. I'm in.
Hey, not fair. Not fair.
Tommy, where'd you get that? It's on Amazon. Everything's on Amazon.
It's cheaper than 500.
Cheaper than 500.
But amazing.
It's a great gift. It's a great gift. But I'm going to save you for last. I'm going to start with Wade. We start with Wade here because he's super smart. He's a teacher. Hardest man. Maybe Dave, you and him could have had some good battles back. I mean, you were a pretty hard center back in your day.
Well, thank you.
It was a compliment.
I think I have to just start by saying my all-time hero, I decided to wear his jersey this evening, so hold on one second. Jason's holding the microphone stand. They are microphones.
And that was not planned.
It was not planned. I started playing in Federal Way in '73. Sounders came in '74, and I have a 75 photo of me and Arfon Griffiths. He did a soccer camp at Lakota, a Welsh legend. Marcus is famous for getting beers in the middle of activities, you know.
Penalty kick shootouts?
Penalty kick shootouts, yeah. But if the question is, like, how did I mild-mannered...
well, I just think you're such a hard guy on the field, and you're a nice guy.
Well,
you're such a nice guy off the field.
I did have to learn how to do that because the switch. Everyone's got an evil person inside, Mother Teresa as well, right? But if you know how to harness it, I think the thing. I've been married for 35 years to Erin. She's wonderful. She's not here this evening because she's been to enough events that I've gone to. And she doesn't need to see another, But people look at her sometimes with an eyebrow raised because of kind of the reputation that I did earn as a player. Peter Fewing, who is there, tells a great story. The first time I ever met Peter was in Portland. I knew who he was, and I was playing, I played for the Timbers. Yes. Only because they didn't want me in Seattle. I went to the University of Portland. I would have rather have gone to UW or SPU, but didn't get recruited, so I went down and played there. It worked out great. I eventually got to come home. But I met Peter by basically kicking him into tomorrow on the field. And he said he woke up with little birds flying around his face flat on his back, and he still says I'm over him, like adding verbals after, and I don't remember that part. I think Pete's embellishing a little bit. But Brian, I really am mild-mannered. I just have to say, and I don't want to hog any more microphone time, Jason. Seeing the weight of history, and that's not W-A-I-T, that's W-E-I-G-H-T. There's a lot of heaviness in this room, and I look at current players. I look at Dave and Tony and Jimmy and Alan and the fingerprints that have been left on the community, the soccer community, by Seattle Sounders players, starting with that group and continuing to this day. It's humbling. It's humbling. Tony was our goalkeeper coach. Alan was our coach. Frank Barton was my coach in the Federal Way City League in 1985 as an 18-year-old. So yeah, touched, and thanks for telling me I'm a hard man.
You're welcome. Now, yeah. I do want to recognize Cliff, because Cliff, you should have recruited Wade because he was good. But you had a lot of success anyway. You had a lot of success because of people like this. You had a lot of I met Bruce Randy. Where's Bruce? Bruce is there in the background somewhere. There you go, right next to you. A lot of good SPU guys, but let's talk about Shoreline, North Seattle, and then Frank. He might have a story about my first coach-to-player conversation. My first year as a head coach. Give me that at least.
Yes, I do. But first and foremost, I wore the jersey of my favorite player as well. There's only one of those floating around.
One of my favorites as well.
First and foremost, a couple people to thank. Coach Hinton, I love you. You did so much for me, and really appreciate it, and glad to see you here. My story about Brian's first, I believe his first meeting when he got the head coach job. If you remember, one of the first.
Yeah.
The way I remember it was the first.
Okay.
At the Oki Foundation, I think you might have had a team meeting with some of the guys, and you asked me to go to grab a coffee afterwards. And I was like, all right, right on. This is going to be awesome. He's going to ask for my input on some player stuff, and maybe, offer me the captainship or whatever. And so we sat down with coffee, and Brian did buy, which was nice. And I remember him looking me in the eye, and I'm like, right on, this is it. This is going to be awesome. And he looks me in the eye and he goes, Jason, there's a time in every player's career when you just have to know that it's coming to an end. And wasn't quite the speech I was prepared to hear, but I don't know if you remember that. I don't think you do.
I remember it. I put my foot in my mouth. I was just trying to prepare you for life after soccer.
And you did, so thank you for that. Yeah, that was awesome.
One of my first very awkward moments, but I learn on the job. I mean, I need to, I wasn't great when I was first coaching. I needed to learn. And look, Jason, he's taken it very well right now. It was, challenging for us to, come in, and, Adrian had just signed me, and, I remember Leighton's going to come up here later, but, that first year of me as a coach, it was just like, I just rolled the ball out, and you guys did all the rest. I mean, that was easy.
It was fantastic, and it's just another testament to the people in this room and the group of players and coaches that this city has produced. It's pretty humbling, to be honest, and even you're going to have a talker or guys coming up to talk here in a few minutes that I actually coached when he was a kid. So this is kind of coming full circle a little bit, and it's just an amazing environment to be a part of.
Awesome. Marcus.
And I'm really old.
Bring us home, Marcus. Give us a story. Give us a story. What do you want to talk about?
I got lots of stories.
I know you got a lot of talk. What? You give us two good ones.
Dustbin soccer.
Dustbin soccer, one of Neil Megson's best coaching drills.
Yes. So Memorial Stadium, the goals were so heavy, nobody wanted to move them. So we just put 2 dustbins on the side of the field. And
Garbage cans.
Garbage.
Thanks, Wade. How do you spell garbage?
I'm translating for the English impaired.
So we had put the garbage cans on the side, and then we would
try and hit the garbage cans. Yeah.
And you had to hit the garbage can, and then if you hit it in the garbage can, the game was over. And I do remember one of my greatest physical attributes that I've ever had and accomplishments of all time. Fuck the Premier League. Was someone crossed the ball and I dunked it in the garbage can, and that was it.
I believe you.
I do have a Marcus story. I do have a Marcus story, and I don't think you'll mind me sharing this. In 1996, we were, Neil Megson was the coach, and he told us that we're going to go to Green Lake and go around Green Lake for fitness in preseason. Marcus showed up with rollerblades, saying accurately that Neil never said we're going to run around Green Lake. He only said we're going to go around Green Lake. And the kicker, we lapped him as we were going around Green Lake.
Rollerblades are really hard. Apparently I thought it was going to be easy. But just to go on what everyone else is saying is you think of the history here, and I grew up watching the old Sounders, and then that faded away in '83, right? And that was kind of then it was kind of the Tacoma Stars, and we went and watched the Tacoma Stars, and talking about how timing of everything works. I graduated from SPU in '94, and the Sounders were starting, so it was perfect, right?
Right time, right place.
Yeah, and just the opportunities that were just given to me, and because of I'm in college playing for Cliff, so I have the 2 greatest coaches I've ever played for. I'll get into that story in a second. Are here, but to come out of college where all you were doing is playing soccer, and then the Sounders started up, so it was between me and Dusty, and it was just the perfect timing, right? If I had waited 2 years, right, I'd have been a fishing guide, and I'd have been 295, and that would have been it, right? So timing of everything.
Never would have met Amanda.
Yeah.
You guys were college sweethearts, right?
Yeah, college sweethearts, yeah.
Oh, there you go, Amanda.
Yeah.
Hi, Amanda. She's over there.
Yeah, and she likes little big guys, so it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. So it's totally fine.
And bring us home. Final story. Give us a good one.
Final
Mark.
story. I have so many more. I mean, she doesn't like the mustache, but we met and I had a mustache, so I'm still confused about that one. But on to the real story. In a bar, I came back from playing in England, and I think it was Kovacs. Kovacs was definitely there. So
Mark
he was
Kovacs.
SPU, yeah.
Yep.
Mark Kovacs, SPU guy. I think he's still coaching at East Side. Chance? He's still there? Okay, he's still there. I haven't talked to Kovacs in a while. And he goes, okay, you played for all these great managers in England. Who's your greatest manager of all time? And I go, well, it's Cliff and Al. Hands down. And he goes, that's fucking bullshit. Sorry. And he goes, what do you mean? You played for Tigana. He won the World Cup with France. Mick McCarthy. And I go, yeah, but I came from high school. Cliff believed in me. He got me through SPU, right? Gave me an opportunity. And then the next step is Alan Hinton. And then you get another opportunity, right? And Alan wanted to play Dusty for some reason. I don't know what was going on with that. But when I played, we won, so he didn't have a choice, right? But you think about all the people who are influencing people's lives and giving an opportunity and believing in those people. And we have a lot of, all the guys, I mean, it's half the over 40 or over 50 league, it's probably 55 now, but are here tonight. And it's the people who, the kids you believed in and all these different things, right? You give an opportunity for, and you just that next step, right? And where you're going and all those different things. And my parents passed away this summer, both of them, and we're going through all the shirts and stuff. And you're looking at like all these old like Reading shirts and national team shirts, and without the Sounders, it wasn't possible. I got a plaque from the Sounders, and it was like, congratulations to the national team, you know, from '95. You know, all these things. Without the Sounders, none of this is possible, right? And I couldn't have a job of flying float planes and fishing when I want to, if not for the Sounders.
I'm going to say one thing, Marcus. You're pretty good, though, too.
Huh.
He was pretty
Yeah.
good.
So, one more story.
Okay.
Wait, one more story.
30 seconds.
One more story. So, 2012, I come home playing in England and gonna retire because Ziggy didn't want me. And so, I'm hanging out in Cle Elum, trying to figure out what our next step and all these different things. And Adrian calls me up and he goes, "Where are you?" And I go, "I'm at a garage sale." And he's like, what side of the mountains are you on, right? And so I'm like, I'm on that west side. He goes, "Well, we need you to come in because I think we could figure it out, all this." And he goes, "But I could, like, what are you doing?" I go, "I'm buying a barbecue. It's like a brand new Weber at a garage. Like, it's like $50. It's like, are you kidding me?" So he goes, "Well, we want to sign you." And I'm like, "Do you still want to play?" And I went, "For who?" And he goes, "For us." And I'm like, "Of course I want to play for you guys, right?" And that was my, like, kind of come back, and because I wasn't sure, like, we just kind of came home and retired, and able to play a whole bunch of games, drink a ton of beer, trade a shirt for a beer.
Train with Tommy.
Yeah, and train with Tommy, and I got my skiing buddy.
I love it.
It's
I
beautiful.
I think what he's trying to say is the 1990s is the golden generation of Seattle.
It was the
Sounders
best
soccer.
generation.
First couple of championships. Well said. Well done, Jason. Big round of applause for these three. Okay. All right, so here we go. On to the 2000s. And I want to stop here just for a quick second because Billy May and Eric Storkson's, the 2000s were a very busy year for the Sounders because, you know, we started with the A-League and then the USL, and then in 2009, we morphed into the MLS. And so it was a busy decade. So let's take a look.
You get to PKs, you could throw tactics, skill, throw it out the window. But what it comes down to is the guys with ice in their veins who can handle the pressure for a championship.
Zajemba. Burko makes the save. Jenkins for Seattle. Cool as you like, he puts it in the back of the net. To extend this to round number 8. Goalkeeper versus goalkeeper. Pascal must finish or Seattle wins. Pascal misses! And the Seattle Sounders are USL 1 champions of 2005.
League MVP Sebastian Letou and the Seattle Sounders won the USL regular season and are now 1 win away from completing the sweep, something no team has done in the past 8 years. The USL 1 championship is next.
And Graham's going to push forward now, the big centre half. And still Graham. To Correa. Chance for a strike. Oh, what a goal!
Rips this one from 30 yards out, giving McIntosh no chance in the Atlanta goal. And the Sounders with now a comfortable 2-0 lead. And it cruised through the playoffs.
Correa in, oh, good save, and it will be a 4th goal for Seattle. And it's the substitute Tomlinson who hammers it home.
And things only get better for the Seattle Sounders. Every move they've made tonight has worked.
Headed away, but there's the final whistle. And Seattle prevail, defeating Atlanta by a score of 4-0. And it's a 4th USL championship for the Sounders. That's the trophy to Brian Schmetzer and Danny Jackson. There you have it. Seattle Sounders, 2007 USL 1 champions.
An electric atmosphere, to say the least. Well, we just saw the stadium here. Every single fan had the scarf above their head. It's fantastic, the atmosphere, the energy, the buzz. You can feel it. Hopefully that transforms onto the field for both teams tonight.
Off it comes, top of the box to Latu. Now to Montero. Here's a drive and a goal. Montero with a drive, far post. Freddie Montero scores at 11:03 in Seattle. Seattle will set it back in play. Montero, near corner of the box. Nice play through. Turning with a drive. It's Evans. Evans with the left foot. Fed in there by Montero. And Seattle scored again at the 24th minute of the match. Montero takes it away. 1-on-1. Top of the 18. Sets up. Fakes. Drives and a goal. Montero, his second goal of the night in the 75th minute. 3-0 Sounders. I don't know how this night could have been any better.
Okay. That was Kevin Calabro, the voice of the Sonics, doing our first year of broadcasting there. Let's bring up to the stage some really important members of that era. Leighton O'Brien, Roger Levesque, and Taylor Graham. I don't know if I've said this in public in a place like this, but Leighton O'Brien, the sharpest tactical mind I've ever coached.
I gave him $50.
And what I've never asked you though, because Leighton was a good, tactically smart, figure stuff out, but are you a love to win or hate to lose? Because you were kind of angry on the field all the time.
Hate to lose.
Hate to lose. You're right in my alley. I love it. I love it. But 2002 league MVP?
I think so.
Yeah, that's a fact. Just tell us a little bit about, again, growing up here, your brother Kieran, just the family, your dad. I played against your dad. I mean, it's another great story, but just give us something about making a home here in Seattle.
I'm going to turn the tables just for a second. Sounders are what, 50 years?
50? Taylor, 51? 51?
So for me, Brian Schmetzer, Adrian Hanauer in 2002, it's almost been 25 years. Half of the Sounders' existence. These two gentlemen need a big round of applause. They've done a fantastic job.
I'm old. I get it.
And I was lucky to be Brian's first year as a player. I was in 2001 with Neil Megson, who I love. Neil, I talked to him a lot. He's quite a character. Neil is just a quick little deal. Neil, it's either you are absolutely brilliant or you're absolutely terrible. So Neil had that uniqueness to him. But Brian came in and Adrian in 2002, and they just, the DNA, the fingerprints that you see today was exactly 02. Adrian's very calculated, he's very patient, loves a discount for the home guys, right?
Thank God he's not here anymore.
Oh, he left. Okay, we talk more. And Brian was fantastic from minute one. I mean, I knew Brian, watching him, a lot of these guys, Jimmy Mack, Jeff Stock, Alan Hinton was the manager when my dad played in the locker room at Tacoma Stars. And so I watched these guys growing up, and Brian has just been fantastic. And, almost 25 years later, him and Adrian are doing the same thing they did in 2002. So I just got to take my hat off for them, and they've been fantastic.
Let's piggyback a little bit, not to cut you off, Leighton, but let's piggyback because, look, you were intense, you were into games and stuff like that, but me and Taylor were talking upstairs in the office about the USL days. I mean, road trips, back-to-back games, traveling with me and Randy Notaboom and 16 players and 3 minivans. Give us some stories about the grit and determination of our teams back in those days.
I'll tell you about my first day with the Sounders, and so this is preseason 2005. And so I drove to training with Roger and Kevin Sakuda. You just saw them on the film. we showed up about 90 minutes early, and I turned to Kevin, I said, so where's the locker room? And he said, locker room? There's no locker room. And I was like, well, where do you get your gear? He's like, there's no gear. What if you need your ankle tape? Do you have a place to get your ankle tape? He's like, bring your own tape. I was like, why are we here 90 minutes early? We played 90 minutes of soccer tennis before every single game, every single practice. It was probably more intense than practices. And Brian was there the whole time, and he was pacing back and forth on his phone. And what we thought is either signing players, negotiating contracts, and he was negotiating his subs because he was really building houses. You were negotiating real estate on the side. But we traveled with 16 players, usually 2 goalies and maybe 1.5 or 2 staff, and we played Friday night in Minnesota and Saturday afternoon in Montreal. And when you were lucky enough to be the higher seeded team in the playoffs and you got to go home and away, you got to travel red-eye to Puerto Rico on Friday night and then play at home again on Sunday. But we figured it out. This is a club that's always just figured it out. Some people would say it was a ragtag or men's league or borderline unprofessional. It was the most professional group of humans I ever played with. And the grit and the resilience, it's still embedded in the club today, despite these beautiful training facilities and this beautiful atrium. It's still in there, and it's because of the people and the protagonists of that story. So thank you for your role you played in that.
Go ahead, Dodge. I dare ya.
Wanted to add. Sorry, I'm a little under the weather.
Is that on?
Hello?
Hello?
Hello. There we go.
Roger went to Stanford, by the way.
Thank you, Leighton. I just wanted to add one thing on top of the why that Taylor said. We did it because we loved it.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, we did. I see Danny back there, I see Zach. Anyone who was part of that group and part of that experience, starting with Adrian, Brian setting the tone, Jimmy, Gabriel, it was like we did it because we loved it and we wanted to be there. That's why we showed up 90 minutes early to play soccer tennis. That's why, some of us enjoyed not having gear given to us because we could wear whatever we wanted to. And I thought I took that to extremes, but Greg Howes at one point showed up with a green cutoff t-shirt that had slits in it because I think he had just joined us from Rochester, who was one of the more professional USL clubs at the time. And he showed up and he said, "We don't get gear?" "Nope." He said, "Well, I am, yeah, okay, here we go." But moments like that made it really special and made it fun and made us all want to continue to show up, even though schedule was tough. I drove a van, that was scary. And so, yeah, but it was great. And like Taylor said, it set the tone for what would become and is the club that we see today.
A lot of big moments. Leighton, the first game in was it called Quest then? Beat the Whitecaps 4-1.
Yeah, it was I think a lot of people probably were here in the community. 2002, opened the stadium, first sporting event, and we were on a high. Jason Farrell was there, Viet Nguyen in the community, Kieran Barton was playing, and it was just a great day for everyone. That stadium, part of the reason it was passed is because of the soccer vote, and that night was just special. So it was good. It's great.
It was a good win over the Whitecaps. Taylor, we talked again about some of the Open Cup victories that this group of players had. I mean, we had some big Open Cup results in 5, 7, Chivas a couple times. What memories are there?
This club's always had a chip on its shoulder, to be honest. And anytime you get to play someone who on paper is in a higher league or makes more money or better, we wanted to prove them wrong. And so I think it was 2007 and 2008, we made good pushes towards, we were 2 consecutive Open Cup semifinals, beat multiple MLS teams along the way, and it was just a sense of pride that when you're looking up and you take off the big guys. And so I think it was 6 consecutive Open Cup finals between 2007 and 2014, and it's a competition that kind of lets the Davids take on the Goliath, and that was, it's core to the club and its identity.
I think some of those games helped us in the MLS era.
Yeah, and the biggest win for the Sounders coming from the 2008 Open Cup semifinal loss was we played Charleston, and Osvaldo Alonso was on the other team. Sure enough, he was a Sounder the next year, so thank goodness we had a success in the Open Cup because we got to see Ozzy play for the first time.
So, Dodge, we'll end with you a little bit. I mean, you were in the lineup in 2009 opening game.
I was going to say, can I do the things I learned from Brian Schmetzer?
Okay. Do I have a choice?
I'll just do a couple quick ones. Taylor mentioned construction. 2003, 2004. Maybe it was 2004. At that point, wasn't ingrained in the community. Was not coaching youth soccer or had another job as some of my other teammates. And so get back from training. We'd train in the morning at Genesee, whatever it was, and then come back, and then we get a phone call from Brian and said, "Hey, you want to do a little work?" And so sure enough, Brian would give us an address. Kevin Sakuda, Marco Velez, and I would go over to a house construction project, and we'd start cleaning. We'd start moving pipes around. So I did learn that, this soccer thing better work out. Another thing I learned from Brian, humility was one specific story stuck out as I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about tonight, and it was 2007. We had an extremely talented team. By far one of the best teams of the era, and it was kind of getting later in the season. We were playing a home game. Schmetz called me into the office. I don't know if you remember this story. He called me into the office. Showed up to the match. Didn't know the starting lineup. I looked at the board and wasn't on it. And looked at the lineup. Gosh, you know what? I shouldn't be on that lineup at this point. At this point in the season. I think that match. Leighton got hurt. I came on, played in the midfield, and just hunkered down. We won. And then ended up playing the rest of the season and a successful run. But at that moment, it was the right decision. It was what I needed to hear as a player. And I think from that point on, even before that, but Brian and the trust that I had in Brian to make sure that I was on the right track, and I needed it a lot.
You needed some guardrails for sure.
I did. Yeah, so thank goodness for your leadership.
Okay. All right. Go, Taylor.
Can I layer one more Brian lesson? 2008, Josh Gardner, a teammate, got engaged. We threw him an engagement party. And the team showed up. There was a bunch of guys. We were having some fun. And then Sammy the Sounder showed up. And just meandered around. It was in a house with an unfinished basement. For 45 minutes, Sammy the Sounder just kind of hunkered down and wobbled side to side and sat up next to actually Mikey Morris, who's now the head coach of the Defiance. 45 minutes later, Brian takes his head off. He was Sammy the whole time. That's when Raj and I learned never throw away a costume.
We were floored.
I was trying to hear what you guys were talking about me about. Okay, let's hear it for these three.
Thank you.
So look, back in the day, and a lot of people in the room that went through this, we had second jobs, third jobs sometimes. And again, I'll go back one more time to the touch points because Roger brought it up. When they went out and coached youth soccer out because they needed money, because they weren't getting paid enough, they went out and were coaching in the community, and then their kids that they coached would come watch them play games, and there again, it was that connection between the players and the fans that keeps this thing alive. So let's jump here to another very good era. Anybody know what that is? the 2010s, 2019. Let's watch.
It's the 2014 Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup Final. Gaddis. Shot deflected, rebound picked up by Fry. Ball is still loose, but it's cleaned up by Alonso. For Zach Scott when he was down. Here we go. Nogueira. Maidana over to Nogueira. Nicely done. Off the post. Rebound. Still free. Unbelievable. Couldn't quite get there in stride. Martins. Good touch. Papa. Martins shot. Save. Hand save up over the bar by McMath. Good ball to Dempsey. Subtle little pass to Martins. Martins. Back to Dempsey. Goal! Sounders FC have scored! And it's Clint Dempsey out of nowhere, combining with Obafemi Martins. Maidana. Ribeiro trying to get in there. Cruz headed. Saved by Fry. Carlos Valdez. Slick back heel from Papa. Martins, nice chest turn. Look out, he can fly. Martins on a race. Zach McMath, the ball is in. And Sounders FC with an insurance goal. Obafemi Martins. And that is it. That is going to do it.
Two clubs that are big spenders with big ambitions, big fan bases, big stars. But for the very first time, an opportunity to win a championship. MLS Cup 2016 between Toronto FC and the Seattle Sounders on a frigid night on the shores of Lake Ontario is underway. Tosaint Records, no one in the middle. Torres went to ground early. Now the cross out to Nor. What a save by Fry! Wow! What a save, Stefan Fry. We're going to penalties to decide MLS Cup 2016. Roman Torres, who impressed all of us last year at the Gold Cup, but then missed an entire year with an ACL injury, returned in Portland at the end of August. What a beast he's been tonight, dealing with Josie Altidore and Sebastian Jovinko. And now an opportunity with his foot to win MLS Cup for Seattle, which he has done. The Seattle Sounders have done it. MLS Cup winners in 2016.
Now, there was a little crossover because I'm going to bring Zach up here, and Zach was here for the previous era, but you were involved in this one. We'll talk about that 2014 final. So let's bring up Zach and Stefan Fry. Okay, so a lot of games between you two. Turn one. A lot of games between you two. You are the original Mr. Sounder. You want to know why? Because it says so right here on the Zach Scott bobblehead. It says right there, Mr. Sounder, 2002 to 2016. That's why he's Mr. Sounder.
Not self-proclaimed by any means.
Not self-proclaimed. You got one of these?
We've got a box somewhere.
A box. Okay, I'll keep it. I have this in my desk, so I'll keep this. I want to talk about that 2014 game because I don't know if you caught it or not, but Zach was injured in the game and he had broken a bone in his foot. And you saw him calling for the sub. But we didn't sub him off because we couldn't, because we either didn't have any subs or Ziggy didn't want to or whatever, but he's tough as nails. I mean, he powered through that game, and thank God we had Oba and Clint. I think we subbed Oba on, or did we sub Clint on, Tommy? Which one was it? We subbed Oba on. I mean, Oba, you saw the last couple of goals, and that game was pretty crazy, but it must have been a good experience.
Yeah, I mean, with Clint and Oba, it was truly like and one basketball, right? Like you didn't know what was going to go on with those two. It would happen in practice, it would happen in the games. And when Oba got on the field, there was just like a belief that we were going to close it out because, I mean, you looked at the saves that Steph was making during that game. We were under fire for most of that game. It's pretty cool.
Pretty cool. So I got a story about Zach. So, Zach, when he came up and made it on the Sounders MLS roster, there were a lot of games that he did play in, but there were some games that he didn't. And what I always appreciated about Zach was, at the time when I was Ziggy's assistant, I'd always make up the teams for the small-sided games or the 11v11s or whatever we had going for the game. And Zach kept coming to me, and he was like going, "Don't you dare put me on this team over here. I want to play against Oba and Deuce. I want to make sure that I play against those two blankety blanks," because he wanted to push himself, even in training, to play against the best players. And that's what gave you a good career. I always appreciated that.
I would get so frustrated when you would stack teams for the offense to be like, okay, here's the first team, they're we're gonna play 11 versus 8, I would get so pissed off. I remember just grabbing balls and kicking the shit out of them and being like, this is BS. We'd like tie the game, or maybe we'd win, and then you'd be like, okay, well now you're gonna play 11v7, and we'd still make it competitive, and just so mad.
So, another good story about Zach, and right place, right time. I mean, I owe my career to Freddie Hamill and Al and some other people here in the room, but this is the true story about how Zach Scott became Mr. Sounder. And you know it, Memorial Stadium, open tryout. I'm sitting...
Dudes in jean shorts.
Bart Wiley charged them each $100. That's how we made some money, extra money. So it was me, I think Dickie, I think Darren Sawatsky, Peter Hatrip, you might have been there. I don't know. I had Chance, you might have been up there. We're all sitting there watching this open tryout, and we had like 10 teams, and we had to rotate, and we were just playing 10 against 10. And Memorial Stadium was tight. I mean, it's a narrow field, and so the ball was just going like this. Back and forth and back and forth. But there was one guy in the tryout that was winning every single head ball. I mean, the ball would come like this, and the guy would, he'd head it like this, he'd go 30 yards the other direction. That was Zach Scott. And Chance, I think it was Chance, taps me on the shoulder, and he goes, "Dude, you gotta sign that guy." That's the story.
Thank you, Chance. There's something to be said about, crushing a ball with your head. But no, it was a truly unique time. I mean, I played soccer at Gonzaga at the time. I was student teaching. I expected to just be done after college and go into teaching, and kind of didn't want to end there. And obviously I'd heard of the Seattle Sounders. They'd been defunct. So 2002, they was like they were entering the A-League. They were coming back, and tryout period was a number of weeks, right? Like you had to get through that open tryout, but then you didn't have a contract. You had to show up for an exhibition game or something like that. So there was probably like 4 or 5 weeks where I'd get done teaching at a elementary school in Spokane, and I'd jump in my manual truck and drive over to Seattle and sleep on the ground in someone's apartment, and then play with the team in 2 exhibition games and stuff like that. And, that grind, and you heard it with Raj and Taylor and Leighton, like that was like inherent. You needed to have that. If you wanted it, you needed to pursue it wholeheartedly, and that had just been like a consistent mantra for all Sounders teams, right? So, I mean, again, as the tryouts.
Never quit.
Yeah, as the tryouts, continued on, Schmetz would literally throw me a bone when I finally got a contract. It was a per game contract, and the team was so good that year that the only way you got paid is if you stepped on the field, and we were winning games like 4-0. So he'd put me on for the last like 2 or 3 minutes. I'd be like, I got paid.
Another one of my tough guys, Steph has been through a lot, done a lot with his career. I don't have any specific questions. I'm just going to hand you the mic. I mean, I know you want to start with a couple of stories, but what an awesome, awesome human being. What an awesome, awesome goalkeeper. We were lucky that Tommy and Zig stole you away. You were going to go to Europe or something, but well, I hope you're glad you came here.
Yeah, I was actually going to I was thinking about what to talk about here, but a lot of Chad Marshall stories, but unfortunately those are, none of them I can share with the little kids here, so if you ever run into Chad Marshall, ask him to explain those. But no, I kind of wouldn't mind sharing like how I sort of came to the Sounders and what it meant to me. And so a little context, I started my career in Toronto there for 5 years, and it was pretty terrible. In terms of, I mean, it was a good time for me. I got to play a lot, but we achieved literally zero. And I'm in the camp of don't want to fail, but like it would be nice to win once in a while as well, you know? I mean, it was so bad that my last year there, and I'm not too proud to share this, but my wife and I booked our wedding for November, knowing that there was zero chance that Toronto FC was going to make the playoffs, so it was a safe bet. But no, yeah, I was, you know, we got married, and I was on my honeymoon, and was hoping, I came just out of a bad injury, but I was hoping to maybe go to Europe and find something, a place. And my agent called me during our honeymoon and was like, hey, the Sounders are interested. And I was like the Sounders? And I say this because to me, they were the face of success. And I was having none of that in Toronto at that point. So that was the big draw, not gonna lie. So I'm like, yes, let's do it. I want to win stuff. Let's go. So get to Seattle and just excited to see how the culture is and whatnot. Some funny little stories. Ziggy was super nice to me. We spoke German to each other, which was awesome, you know, a little in. He took me to Hans's Delikatessen in Burien.
Right down the street here,
Yeah, great place. I thought it was super nice of him until I figured out he sent me there so I would know where the place was when he needed something from Hans Delikatessen. So I would tell him, hey, do you want anything? And at first he was like, nah. And then 10 minutes later he'd be like, oh, how about a little bit of Weisswurst or a little bit of this and that, you know? But it was really nice for him to take me under his wing. I was stoked to get to play with Marcus Hanneman. I mean, what a legend. Until it was raining and he was running around as a squeegee. Tommy will remember this. He was running around as a squeegee trying to get the water away from the field. And we had to corral Marcus back in. Hey man, you got to train, dude. You can't just squeegee around forever. So I was like, how are they so successful here, you know? But it's exactly people like this right here. And that grit and that determination, even when you might not see that much playing time. And I think that was passed down through all these generations we just saw. And there's a Mr. Sounders in every one of those generations. And the new guy like me in that instant saw that current Mr. Sounders and was like, damn, I really want to make that person proud, look up to them, live up to them, and maybe one day become that person myself and then pass that down to someone else. And so that really restarted with the very first generations. You guys did that, passed it on to the next, and then passed it on to the next. And I know I never said this to Zach, but one of my goals, or I was so excited when we won in 16, to send him off with that trophy, because he freaking deserved it.
He freaking deserved it.
Freaking deserved it.
Okay, so you saw the highlight, the save. It's the save. Tell me about that, or do you remember that moment at all? Do you remember the guy getting past Roman, and what were you thinking?
No, I mean, in that moment, what do I remember from that moment? It was just, I mean, we had trained, you train for those moments, and hopefully it becomes second nature that you don't give up and you try to, regain your balance and then make a push and go for it. And I did, and I was able to make the save. And then I think Christian or someone got fouled not too long right after down the field. And they must have shown a replay behind me and on the big screen, and I heard the whole stadium go like, and then I look around and I look at the bench and I see Jimmy Traore vigorously high-fiving Tommy like this, and I was like, okay, I guess I must have done something right there. But everybody was doing their part there, and it worked out. In the end, history. It's really funny to see black and white pictures from the early days, and I've said this numerous times that we all kind of want to make history, but especially when you're part of a successful club, it's hard to make history, but we were able to make history that day. It's not a black and white picture, but it's the first, and hopefully first of many to come.
You guys have done a lot to push our history and get us going in the right direction. Zach Scott and Steph Fry. Okay, all right, so here we go. There's one era left. And before I forget, because my head's going in a lot of different ways, Pedro de la Vega is sitting over there. And I know a lot of you guys are buying tickets for the World Cup, and you have to sign up for FIFA.com or FIFA.org or something, and you can actually vote for the Puskás Goal of the Year. So make sure you get out and vote for Pedro. Okay, there's a lot of good young players there. I mean, Obed's off that list or whatever, but it's just the theme of homegrowns. Again, starting back in the 70s through my generation to the 90s with the Dunn brothers and guys that we haven't mentioned yet. This club has always done a good job. This area of the country has always done a good job about getting good talent to come and play for the hometown team. So let's take a look at a couple more.
For years, the Seattle Sounders, started in '74, and it was always the MLS or the NASL back in those days. But this is an opportunity to step into the arena at Champions League level. It's huge for the players, it's huge for the coaches, it's huge for the front office.
It's an historic evening here for Seattle Sounders. For the very first time, they are hosting a CONCACAF Champions League final. It is a second leg clash, 2-2 from the first leg. It sets up so nicely. The tifo behind the goal says Kings of Cascadia, rulers of MLS, next CONCACAF.
This is the night to prove that. This is the night after that tremendous comeback down in Mexico City. It's just set up for another tremendous historic night for this franchise. They keep possession.
He's inside the area here on his left foot. Cross comes in, Arriaga back for Rudias. Takes a deflection. It's behind the goalkeeper. The Sounders have the opening goal of the night. They lead on aggregate. Lord Morris is onside. A little bit of daylight being to come forward. Talavera coming out. Pulls it back. Nico Ladero. Rudias! That may just seal it! Lozdak could go for goal. Instead he's gone for Morris. Inside the area. Creates the arc. Goes for goal. Big save. Talavera. Off the post. Rebound smashed home. Nico Ladero leaves absolutely no doubt. The Sounders rule the region. 3-0. What a night, what a moment. Sounders just continue to charge a path and lead the way. Not just in MLS, now it's all over CONCACAF. Now they can sing all around Lumen Field. The Sounders are the champions.
Many amazing moments have been created inside of Lumen Field. And today, we look to create a few more as the Ray Green look to bring home the League's Cup trophy. Near 70,000 people in this house here tonight.
Brian Schmetzer said, they have a Messi, we have a Paul Rothrock. Gallagher hold on, 10 yards from the end line, whips it in! Oh, De Rosario!
Sounders lead. Takes a step forward. And rolls in the back of the net! The Sounders go up 2-0. They celebrate together. In the far corner here. And here comes Rothrock. Can he put icing on the cake? Here he goes. In the 18 years he can! Oh, the Sounders fans up on their feet! And his hometown hero, Paul Rothrock. They have Messi, we have Rothrock. Sounders lead 3-0. It's over! There's no out of time! The Seattle Sounders have filled the trophy case! The Sounders win their first Leagues Cup 3-0 over Inter Miami!
You guys embody grit, determination, you overcome adversity. You guys do everything so well. This is one of the biggest, best moments of my life.
They had a good time in that locker room. You guys had a good time in that locker room, I know. But you kind of saw the theme there. The Sounders win a lot of championships. So let's bring up a couple of guys that helped Paul Rothrock and Jordan Morris. You scored a lot of goals for this club. A lot of big goals. You know, 2016, because you're one of the guys that kind of spans a couple of eras there. 2016, I remember the goal you scored in Colorado, 1-1-0, and you hurt your knee. And then I knew you were going to play in the final, but it was like, oh, Jordan might not play or whatever. But just talk to me about your career, Jordan, and just it's such a good story with your Type 1 and just all the good things you do. But just in your own words, tell us what you're thinking about when you see some of these clips.
Yeah, it's
Another Stanford grad.
A Stanford guy. They don't teach you that there. I didn't graduate actually, so I got some work left to do. That's probably why.
Another Stanford
They teach you that your senior year, I guess, maybe. But no, I mean it's pretty crazy for me to kind of, like Steph was saying, just look back at all the different eras, and it's an honor to be here as part of this organization. And you know, I've been a fan of the team for so long. My dad was the team doc.
Do you remember the first game you ever watched, Sounder game?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I remember my dad taking me out to training at Starfire, and vividly remember meeting Sebastian Letou and kind of that era, and I was at the game in 2007 at Starfire when you guys won, and remember being there for that. And then, I mean, I guess my first main memory was I went to the first MLS game with my family, but yeah, having my dad be a part of it, I was a fan of the team for so long, and when I went to that first MLS game, just the energy and the atmosphere, and I knew I wanted to be on that field someday, and obviously it was a good result. And kind of a side note, Brad isn't here, but he scored that game. He megged the goalie, and I remember Brad. Every time I would, early on in my career, I'd miss a chance or whatever, Brad would come up to me like, "Man, just put it through the keeper's legs." That's what I always did, and he would always remind me that. And I remember watching him in that first game. I was like, "Okay,
he didn't mean to do
good."
it.
I know he didn't. It was an accident, but it was a good finish, and he was an older guy. I just nodded and said, "Okay," but. No, I knew from that moment that I wanted to step on the field someday and be a part of the history, and this club has obviously been so successful. And so went through my youth career here in Seattle. Chance was my first coach at Eastside. Dickie and Darren were my coaches in the academy, so had some amazing coaches along the way. Played in the academy for a year, went off to school, and then I always wanted to come back here and play. Coming back in 2016, being able to be a part of that group with Steph and Zach, and amazing moment, amazing season. I think what we talk about which Schmetzer talks about all the time, embodying, grit and determination. We were in last place in the summer that year, right? And we all knew we were better than that. And, obviously Nico comes in, and we had this belief that we were going to make the playoffs and go on a run. And that's just the culture and the mindset that this club has. It's a never give up attitude. And throughout that whole year, we knew that, we were going to make a comeback. And if we make the playoffs, no one was going to want to play us in the playoffs. So, yeah, it's been an amazing run. It's such an honor for me to be a part of this group, and obviously growing up here, it's really special for me and my family.
What was Ozzy's thing in the locker room? We're not finished yet.
We're not finished yet. Yeah.
We're not finished yet.
That was a good one.
It was a good one.
Yeah.
So the game down in Mexico, prior to the final up here in 2022, tell these guys about what that atmosphere was like.
Yeah, it was intense. And going down 2-0 was rough.
Going down
you
2-0.
heard it, and I remember before the game, what did we get? Breakfast for dinner, right? It was supposed to be dinner, and they gave us breakfast. Just like little games like that were getting played. And then we came out and went down 2-0, and it was loud. It's an incredible stadium down there. But again, that same thing. You knew if we could get one, we could try to get another. Honestly, I think we felt like if we came back 2-1, we were going to have a good chance. And then when we made it 2-2 at the end, I think we all knew what was coming when we played at home. So again, that never say die attitude. Even when we go down 2-0, we pushed forward and got a good result.
The guy sitting on the right has a never say die attitude because, maybe Paulie's career wasn't the smoothest or the straightest. It had some ups and downs, and you never quit. And so that's why you're a good fit for this club. So, number one, congratulations.
Thank you.
And I know you got some stories because how many guys in this room coached you?
Yeah, I had a lot of people coach me, and I remember when Brian asked me to do this last week, my first response was, I don't feel like I've done enough shit to be up there with all of them. But I was thinking about it, and
I knew he couldn't say no.
I realized my reason to be here was because I've been coached by so many of you old guys, so it was just another way to toot your horn. But in all seriousness, I was coached by, I think, 4 or 5 guys in this room. Tommy Jenkins was one of my coaches. I had Jason Farrell. I had Jimmy McAllister for a brief moment. I had Wade Weber, and then I had you, and I had some more guys, who mentored me along the way with Bernie James. I had John Hamill,
Johnny Hamill. There you go.
I worked a summer of construction with Dickie McCormick at Sea Dogs, so he taught me a few things there. It's part of the path, I guess. But yeah, and I think when I was reflecting on what I wanted to say tonight, I was just thinking about how that community and that group of guys all kind of prepared me for what it was to be a Sounder. I think Jimmy was the guy when I was young who was setting the standard of, who's still being competitive with 10, 12-year-old kids about how many juggles he could do that were more than them, and how he used to play with Pele. And I used to do crossbar challenges with Jimmy and Alex Chersky.
There you go.
And at one point I just kept hitting the crossbar in games because I was doing so many crossbar challenges with Jimmy after practice. But I was a cocky little kid, and then I had Jason. And Jason came at a really good time. I think he was the first coach to really push me and not put up with my BS. And we, as soon as we got Jason, our team kind of took off, and we had a great Seattle United team. I was part of the first Seattle United crew, and then I had Wade at Academy, and I joined actually around the same month as Nico did in 2016, and had a great year with Wade, and I feel like Wade taught me what professionalism looked like, and
how you could be a professional and
well done, Wade.
And
How to kick people.
how to kick people. Wade also had some very inspiring pre-game speeches. He used to bring Lord of the Rings into a lot of our half-game moments, and I was the captain at the time, and I remember we were actually playing Crossfire, and Wade had this Lord of the Rings quote that was about being with you till the end, even into the fire of Mordor. And
really, Wade?
And no one knew what he was talking about. Yeah, but yeah, and then that led me to you, and I feel very grateful to have those mentors along the way, and yeah, it's cool. It's cool being a kid who got his cleats signed by Obafemi at a practice, and now I'm one of those guys doing it on the other side. And this is a good story. I was looking through my box of old mementos the other day, and I had an old pair of cleats from, it was like 2015, 2016, and there was an autograph on it, and it was Christian's.
Christian Roldan. Okay.
Christian Roldan. And that was a cool moment for me too, because now I'm playing with him.
Your buddy Christian's doing pretty darn good. You got any Christian story? I'll give you the final word. Anything? I mean, we're all super pleased that he had a good performance, and he's doing really well. But you played many games with him, Sounders and national team.
Christian stories. Yeah, I mean, we've been roommates since 2016. Yeah, I have a kind of a funny one, I guess. We played against each other in college, UW Stanford, big rivalry. I think they were probably our biggest rival. Steph Cal wasn't great at the time, so we didn't really have too much trouble with them. But UW were tough. They were a good team. And sorry? Yeah, that's true. You can turn on a mic. That's right. And Christian always holds this over my head, but he beat me out for Pac-12 Freshman of the Year, and he, I messaged him after, trying to be a nice guy, and said, "Hey man, congrats! I hope we play together someday." And obviously we couldn't have imagined where we've come, and but that was a pretty cool full circle moment. But the first time I think we were at a national team camp. The first time I went to his parents' house in California, we went over there for lunch, and the first thing I see when I walk in is his freshman of the year trophy just sitting on the counter right as I walk in.
Just waiting for you.
And his dad was just kind of pointing at it, and I was like, yeah, okay, that's
just like that frickin' trophy that Pete has all the time. I know that feeling.
So he's held that one over me for a long time.
Okay. Well, these two guys are really super talented and super good human beings. Thank you guys. Let's hear it for Paul and Jordan. Thank you guys. Okay, so look, at the end of the day, so many people in this room, whether you're a fan, whether you're a player, whether you're a coach, we have all contributed to this story. And so I just want to thank you all. Thank you. Thank my wife, Christine, and everybody in the room. Let's go, Sounders. So Frank is going to come up here, and here we go. We've got one more little business here, bit of business. It's a very important bit of business because we all want to pitch in where we can, and so I'm going to give the mic to the famous Frank Gallo.
Thanks, Brian. We are going to be quick about this because we have a couple. We're going to honor the Jimmy Gabriel family and Jimmy himself with his scholarship fund, which is one of the things we administer. Before we get there, I want to say that I had never told this to Brian, but when I arrived here to join the Tacoma Tides and stayed to coach at Puget Sound with Bruce Arena. Ended up at Washington, and I knew about Brian Schmetzer and Freddie Hamill and Chance Fry. I figured the two of you were going to go pro, but I didn't know Hinton was going to be the one that stole you away. Yeah, well, obviously it was all for good. Chance I tried to recruit, but I didn't. I wasn't successful, but we had a good run anyway because there's so much talent in Puget Sound, and we kept most of the rest of them here for many years of success. But anyway, back to the issue is, the Legends have a mission that talks about celebrating, preserving, and inspiring soccer here in Washington for all of the wonderful legacy that we're enjoying tonight. We have an incredible online soccer history museum, which I suggest you check out. Search it by decades, by level, what have you. We have a YouTube channel. We're celebrating history tonight, of course, as you're experiencing. But I want to mention the details. The Jimmy Gabriel program we've run for several years. We've granted 32 scholarships for kids from the Seattle and Washington area. They play college across all levels. Some of them play only recreational because it's not about the soccer for them. They're bright, they're hardworking, they have financial need, which is a key part of why we choose these talented young people. So we want to make sure you understand a little something about this. So Jenny, if you don't mind, we're going to show you a clip from our very first scholarship recipient from a few years ago, and I think you're going to find it heartwarming and inspiring. But I'll let you be the judge.
I do apologize in advance about my English. English is not my first language. Growing up, I didn't have much of a stable childhood. I moved here from Fiji. I moved from Fiji to Cook Islands, then back to Fiji. It was very difficult for myself to adapt due to the change and language barrier. My grandparents raised me up the best they could and taught me the morals and values that I have now. They passed away right before I turned 14, and the same year my mom bought me a one-way ticket to America, where I came as an unaccompanied minor. I spent the first year in Sacramento, where I lived with a friend, then moved to Washington shortly after. In 2017, I enrolled myself in the nearby high school. My first day of high school, we had a fire drill. During that fire drill, a girl named Kayla pulled me by my backpack and asked me if I played soccer. I didn't know what soccer was at the time, but she told me if I could run, that's all her team needed, just a body on the field to complete the team and give them enough time for substitutes. Little did I know I would develop a passion for the sport, and the sport would make a huge impact on my life. Weeks after being introduced to soccer, I walked up to the coach, who's now my dad, and asked him if he could take me in, as I heard from my teammates that he was a foster parent at the time. At the time, I was sleeping on friends' couches and being locked out of the house. My now parents, Mary and Todd McNeil, took me in with open arms and gave me a roof over my head while advocating for me during my beginning years of playing soccer. They gave me a chance to enjoy my last few years of my teen life with structure and unconditional support. The Washington Legends of Soccer Scholarship provided me the experience of attending college without worrying about my school costs, textbooks, and lab fees. This gave me the ability to enjoy soccer and focus on my academics at the same time volunteering as much as I could to giving back to the community. I currently work as a certified nursing assistant, and this was all made possible through the scholarship that was given to me. I took a couple psychology and sociology courses, and that's what stirred my interest in helping people, which is what I do now. I help people who are suffering mentally and who need help with their daily activities. Through all the changes I had to adapt to, through transition, I found one similarity: teamwork. Whether it be back home in the islands or on the soccer field, or even in the soccer community that felt like family, teamwork is what kept everyone to strive for something better. No matter your future, if it's professional soccer, raising a family, or pursuing a new career, teamwork will always be at the forefront. This scholarship gave me the opportunity to learn these lessons while going from teenager to young adult. It is a truly priceless experience. I'm excited to see where this opportunity can also lead the generations to come. Thank you.
So as you could see from Lisa, it's not just about soccer, it's about giving back. And so in this part of the program, we are going to ask you to open up your pocketbook, raise your paddle.
We could not be more appreciative of Brian making this commitment tonight. He has an incredible schedule, and we are so grateful for the commitment he's made, not just to Washington State soccer legends, but to everyone in Washington State and soccer. Also want to thank the Sounders organization for this beautiful venue, for their partnership and their support in putting this event on. They have a great crew, and we are just so grateful to work with them. It was a great opportunity and a lot of fun. And then finally, I just want to thank our sponsors again, Cafe D'Arte. Don't forget your coffee on the way out. Georgetown Brewery, make sure that you go by Georgetown and get some more Schmetzer House beer in the future. It's very good. Gibson Burke, Kaizen Financial, Tacoma Stars and Galaxy, Ackley Wines, and Washington Youth Soccer. Thank you so much for your financial support, promotional support, etc. And finally, thank you to all of you for being here tonight. It's a long night. Hopefully you had as much fun as we did, and hope to see you again next year. Thank you so much.